Hi all, this is the weekly energy forecast for May 21st through 27th, 2023. I'm Jen. So last week's energy had there was a sense to it about some kind of fear or something that we were sort of clutching onto that was taking us out of the flow, taking us out of motion forward, keeping us like almost too grounded and too embodied and not allowing for a sense of shifting energy to come in. And the sort of the recommendation for that to sort of deal with that was to take a look at, step back and observe. What is it that you're clutching onto? What is it that you're fearful of that's really preventing you from allowing that sort of forward motion? And then spending some time with some thoughtful planning about how you could address that fear or that clutching so that you could allow that motion. So very interesting energy because it was very much about allowing movement, but also needing to bring in that mental piece of being like engaging your brain to help you do that. I think I oftentimes hear people really in this realm talking about these things, and it seems like they're sort of anti-mind and they really beat up on the mind, and yet it's really important for us to, our brains are incredible and they're very powerful. And so we need to bring them into the process of living differently. And that's sort of what last week's energy was talking about, was let that brain come in and do what it does well, which is to plan and to figure out those details of how you sort of let yourself flow forward. So I liked that balance. Again, it was a really, the word that was coming to me was like realignment all week. There's been so much of that energy happening over the last few months. Balance, realignment, bringing things into a place of alignment that you have not been in before. So it's a real shift in where you've been and letting those things sort of settle into a new form of alignment. So now we get to this week's energy, May 21st through 27th. And the first thing I got was shifting energy card, dismissing to reviewing, which this is always the card I refer to. It relates to the Seven of Swords in the tarot. And I always call that card the unfinished business card, which is the idea that you want to move forward. You're ready. Like, let's have that motion forward. Let's do it. But just like last week's energy, there's something that you're clutching onto that you haven't dealt with yet. You haven't finished. That is going to need attention before you can actually allow that forward motion. So this is really harkening back to last week's energy, saying this is really important. So if you didn't do that work last week, you still need to do it. It's still important to do. To connect in and review with, where those fears are, what are the things you're clutching onto so that you can let go and make space for that forward motion to really go. Because the next card I got, wind and change. So the change is coming. The winds are shifting and change is coming. So the more we prepare for change, the easier it's going to be to manage. This is what a beautiful card for change. I mean, because it's this real, you've got all these beautiful, gorgeous wings and these pretty blue colors, but then also this really nice golden illumination that almost feels like it's lifting this person up. Maybe the wings, maybe this person doesn't know how to use her wings yet. So this nice golden energy is helping to lift her up until she gets used to, how to use them, that kind of a thing. So, so sort of allowing the assistance that you need to help you with the change. And that is where the rest of our energies are sort of coming in this week, because I got crown chakra about, higher vibration sort of spiritual energies and allowing that kind of a vibration of energy and spirit guides and helper beings and that kind of thing to come in and assist you with changes and shifts. As well as the idea of Liberate energy is uniting all of me. And this, in the book, this chapter talks about how do you take all of the pieces of you, including the sort of spiritual energetic component, as well as body, mind, and, heart. How do you take all of those pieces and you really unite them together so that you can move through your life in that unified way, instead of, over here, my emotions are running the show today, and then over here, my brain's running the show. And for some of us, it's more, we're always in letting the brain run the show. And for some, it's the opposite. But instead of doing that, how do I come into alignment with all parts of myself and let all of those pieces inform what I'm doing? Because that's really our natural state, is to be in that alignment. And we're really good at, as humans, training ourselves not to be in that kind of a alignment place. So really, really this is about exploring those places where you're not in alignment, where you're not in flow. What's stopping you from being there? What do you need to do to move those things? What can you call in to assist you, particularly of the, sort of spiritual, universal, higher consciousness realm? And that could be, it could be spirit beings. It could also be practices and tools that you utilize. It could be teachers, mentors, practitioners that you go to see that can, help shine light a little bit differently for you than what you've been able to get to for yourself. There's so many different ways that you can do that, but figuring out a way to really help you come into that higher vibration energy and letting that, spiritual energy move through you to help you with these things and let that change, help prepare for that change. I do this with astrology. Pay attention to what's coming. If there's a new moon, a full moon, an eclipse, paying attention to what those energies signify and leaning into them helps me to navigate them in a better way. And that's what I'm attempting to do with these energy forecasts, is to give you a glimpse at what is coming in with the energies so that you can work with them for yourself. So that is really the message this week, is to just give yourself time and space to work with this and to kind of plan ahead and let yourself get prepared for the changes that are coming, whatever those might be for you and universally what those might look like. But yeah, get prepared and be ready to flow with change when it really does show up, and to do that from a space of like spiritual support. So, okay, that's the energy forecast for May 21st through 27th, 2023. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a good journey. Bye.